Hello my dear friends, welcome to LivePrep. Today we are starting a new chapter, that is Cell the Unit of Life. So in this Cell the Unit of Life, as soon as we are opening the NCERT, so generally students are directly starting with the chapter, that is Cell the Unit of Life. But as I informed you already, so there is some information that was given in unit introduction, and behind that they have given about a scientist also. So first we will go through that content. So what is the information regarding this? And here if we are observing, here there is a unit and unit name is cell structure and function, and in this actually there are three chapters. One is cell the unit of life, and the other one is biomolecules and cell cycle and cell division. In this actually first few lines are related to cell the unit of life, and then they have given some sentences that are related to biomolecules, and finally just one or two lines they are talking about cell cycle, cell division. But the point here is, in this first lecture of Cell the Unit of Life, I am not talking anything about this unit introduction, because in this unit introduction they have given some sentences that are related to cell theory, and that cell theory we will study in the next coming lectures. So what I am thinking is, so first let us complete that cell theory from the regular chapter, and as soon as that content is completed, then I will come back to this particular part, so that time you can understand this in a much better way than in this particular lecture. Understood or not? So, and anyhow remaining content is not related to this chapter. So as of now we are not starting with this particular part. So after one or two lectures, so then once we are completing with the cell theory, so then we will come back to this, and at that time we will go through this particular content. So for this particular one we are skipping this particular part. And then here they have given about a scientist, and his name is G.N. Ramachandran. And where we will study about this particular scientist, this scientist is actually related to biomolecules chapter. Anyhow we are not starting about the biomolecule chapter, so we will not study anything about this scientist here. So when we study about biomolecules, so there we will study about the protein structure and all. At that time we will definitely study about this particular scientist. So now we are not studying about unit introduction, and we are not studying about this scientist. So directly we are going with the regular chapter. So now first we will go with the regular chapter, and actually this particular table is not related to this chapter. You will understand why I have given this particular table here. So in this particular cell the unit of life, initially they are trying to give some introduction. Then how they are introducing that there should be some cell and what are all these things, yes or no? So for that particular cell, before going to the cell directly, they are talking about some information like living organisms and non-living things. Please understand here, living organisms and non-living things. Please understand here, many students are saying non-living organisms. If you are saying non-living organisms, again there is a problem here. So what is non-living organism here? The organism that is dead, like that also you can consider. So that is the reason why, to avoid the confusion, we are not using the word organism for non-living. We are using a term that is called as non-living thing. So that's why two things are there here. One is living organisms, living are organisms, and non-living are things. Like that we are separating this. And now we need to compare between these things. And what is this comparison? Before directly going with this chapter NCERT content, let us quickly recollect some information that was given in the next chapter, that is biomolecules. All these are interlinked. That is the reason why I am bringing that information here. What is the basic information they have given in the biomolecules chapter introduction? In the biomolecules chapter introduction also they have taken two things. One is non-living thing and the other is living thing, living organisms. Like this they have taken. And there they are saying that take a small amount of soil. Soil is example for non-living thing. And then take a small quantity of a tissue, living tissue. It may be from an animal, it may be from a plant, or it may be a paste of microbes also. Microbes are generally, upon centrifugation, we will get a paste. That's why they are saying microbial paste, anything. So animal, plant, microbial, all these things will come under living organisms part. Whereas soil is an example for non-living thing. And in the biomolecule chapter, what is the relation they are saying? Understand this table carefully. This is the table that was given in biomolecules. Here they have given an example of non-living as earth crust, and here they have taken an example of living organism as a human body, and then they are comparing the elements. what are the various elements that are present. And what is the overall conclusion here? Whatever the elements that are present in the earth crust, same elements are present in human body also. You able to understand this or not? This is the relation they are giving. Please understand the relation, please understand the difference also. What is the similarity here? Whatever the elements that are present in the earth crust, the same elements are present in human body also. Fine, good. But what is the difference here? Percentage of that particular element is different in earth crust and human. So this is what the difference is. Fine. But ultimately, what is the similarity? They are trying to say that whatever the elements present in the non-living, the same are present in living also. Percentages may be different, but what makes this difference? Why you are saying something as living and why you are saying something as non-living? So what is the difference that is bringing here? So what is the difference? That difference is the presence or absence of the basic unit of life. And what is this basic unit of life? That is nothing but cell. Please understand here what they are saying. What is the conclusion? What is the overall conclusion here? Non-living things do not have basic unit of life called cell. That means the basic unit cell is absent in non-living things, whereas the basic unit called cell is present in living organisms. This is the one that is differentiating or that is deciding whether something is living or not. Understood or not? So this is overall conclusion. So here in the first paragraph they are saying that non-living things do not have basic unit called cell, whereas living organisms have the basic unit called as cell. And in this way, cell is the basic unit for the life. This is one important point you need to remember. And now another point is how you will say that something is living. What are the characteristic features to decide that something is living? Actually, this information is not discussed in this particular chapter because in the NCERT, directly or indirectly, some of this information was given in a separate chapter called as the living world. In the living world chapter, they have given there, and there you will study more information regarding this. So, in this chapter, what is which information is enough? Living organisms are having the basic unit called cell, and non-living are not having the basic unit called cell. This information is enough here. So, in this way, we are going for this living and non-living. So now since you know that living organisms are having the basic unit called cell, then how many cells are present? This is the next important question, right? Once cell is present, we are saying, next point we need to discuss is how many cells are present. In one organism, how many cells are present? This is the next question. And this is what discussed in the NCERT. And what is this one? Based on this, how many cells that are present? We are classifying them into two types. What are these cells? These are called as unicellular and multicellular. This information is very, very important. And now we are going with this particular one. So now we are talking about cell, the unit of life. Cell is the unit of life. Now in this, we are slowly talking about all these things. What is the first point we discussed? Living organisms only have the basic unit called cell. And now based on this, now we are classifying the organisms into two types. What are these two types? Based on the number of cells, we are classifying into two types. They are called unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Multicellular organisms. What is this unicellular? What is the meaning of this uni? Please understand. You don't need to by heart these. Many times we will use this type of words. So whenever, wherever it is possible, I will try to explain you individual meanings of all these things so that you can easily understand all these things. Okay, please understand this. What is the meaning of uni? Uni means what? Single. Uni means a single cell. Single cell. So what are these unicellular organisms? These are the organisms composed of only one cell. Only one cell. Single cell itself is called as organism. But what about this multicellular? Multi means many, many cells. So in these organisms, can you call single cell as a separate organism? No. Now here what happens? Many cells combinedly together, they are forming a single organism. Understood or not? This is the major difference here. So based on number of cells that are present in the organism, we are classifying organisms into two types: unicellular and multicellular. Unicellular organisms are having only single cell. So that means what? Here single cell itself is called as complete organism. But here it is not like this. Many cells combinedly they are forming single organism. Now the question here is, let us take, where human is a multicellular organism, right? Now here my question is, from the human let us take a single cell separately and let us keep it separately. Can this single cell have independent existence? No, it cannot show independent existence. But what about this unicellular? Here single cell itself is there, but can it show independent existence? Yes. So this is the most important point that you need to remember here. In unicellular organisms, single cell itself is called organism. But here single cell itself is not called as organism. Many cells combinedly together called as organism. And next important point is, in the case of this single cell of unicellular, please understand, this information is not applicable to multicellular. So this single cell of unicellular organism has two important things. First one is independent existence. Independent existence. Independent existence. What is the meaning of independent existence? It can survive on its own. It is not dependent on something else. It can survive on its own. But what about multicellular? Can single cell survive on its own? No. It is dependent on many other cells, because here there is a coordination of work is taking place. Now all the types of cells require all other types, then only they can survive, or else organism itself will die. This is the problem. So here there is a coordination that is happening, but here it is not like this. Understood or not? So in this way, here single cell itself is having independent existence. And not only this, here the single cell itself performs all the essential functions. All the essential functions that are required for the survival of the cell. Please understand here, since it is only single cell itself has to do all the functions. What is this? All the essential functions, all the metabolic reactions for the survival, normal survival, whatever the reactions required, all the reactions are performed in single cell itself. Not only this, some of the properties are also shown here. So generally in multicellular organisms, different functions are shown by different cells. That means in the case of multicellular organisms, there is a division of labor. Division of labor. What is this division of labor? Division. This is the sentence that you will study many times in the next coming lectures. So what is this? Division means distribution. Distribution. This division is nothing but a distribution of, what is this? Labor. Labor means what? Work. So work distribution is taking place in multicellular organisms because many cells are there. So don't think that each and every cell will do the same functions, right? So since many cells are there, some cells will do one function, suppose it is for breathing, some cells are for excretion, some cells are for some neural coordination, some cells are for endocrine functions, they will release hormones. Likewise, different cells are involving in different functions. So that means overall the work of an organism is distributed by the cells. That's why it is called as a division of labor, and this we are observing in multicellular organisms. But in the case of this particular one, what happens? In the case of this unicellular organisms, what happens? Single cell itself is present. The same single cell is performing all the essential functions that are required for survival, so that it can has its own independent existence. This is the basic and the most important information that we need to understand from the NCERT. This information was very clearly conveyed in the NCERT. Is it clear? This is how we are differentiating between unicellular and multicellular. Once it is done, so now this particular content is over, and the next important one is examples. And this information was not given in NCERT here, but whatever the examples we are writing here, it is given in different other chapters also. So this is a very important information to note it down, and you need to compulsorily remember this. What are the examples for unicellular organisms? Unicellular organisms, examples what will come here, and multicellular examples are what? Multicellular organisms examples. And here, instead of directly giving the name of organism, I am trying to classify the 5 kingdom into different groups. So already anyhow, so in the biological classification chapter, so you are studying about the classification of organisms. So nowadays, the whatever the most probably or the most prominently we use in classification is 5 kingdom classification, but anyhow separately you will study about 3 domain classification also. But here whatever the majority information we are discussing in the NCERT, this is mainly based on 5 kingdom classification only. So that is the reason why generally whenever we are talking about these kingdoms, so we will talk about 5 kingdom classification only. This point also you please remember, because even though recently the 3 domain is under the force, but still 5 kingdom we are using. So now as per the 5 kingdom classification, as per the 5 kingdom classification that was given by Whittaker, anyhow regarding these kingdoms, now I don't want to talk here, because anyhow under the biological classification you will study 2 kingdom, 3 kingdom, 4 kingdom, 5 kingdom, and even that 3 domain, that also you will study. So anyhow you will study there. So I don't want to repeat this once again, and I don't want to bore your lecture. So now first we will directly go with the 5 kingdom. Anyhow already you studied about this 5 kingdom up to the class 10th also. So what is this 5 kingdom classification given by Whittaker? It was given by Whittaker. So what are the kingdoms present under this one? So please understand this. First one is kingdom Monera. First one is kingdom Monera. Second one is kingdom Protista. Second one is kingdom Protista. Next one is kingdom Fungi. Next one is kingdom Fungi or Fungi, anything, anyhow you can pronounce this. Next one is kingdom Plantae. Kingdom Plantae, you can also write it as plants, like that also you can write. Next one is Animalia. Animalia, you can also write this as animals. So in this way, kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, and then kingdom Plantae, and the last one is kingdom Animalia. So in this way, total 5 kingdoms are present. Now the question is, what about the organisms of this kingdom Monera? And in which group? What is that group? We want to classify them into either unicellular or multicellular. So where we will write about kingdom Monera? Now you just tell me that. So kingdom Monera. So in the kingdom Monera will come under unicellular. Kingdom Monera is coming under unicellular organisms. Fine. Next one. This is under unicellular. Then what about this kingdom Protista? So this is unicellular. Now I will write both. There also I will write, here also I will write, because here I will try to add some other information. Okay. So what is this kingdom Monera? So this is having all unicellular. In this kingdom, whatever the organism is there, all the organisms are having only single cell. Single cell itself is considered as organism. So in this way, many types of bacteria, many are there. So at least simple example of bacteria I am using here. They will come under this. Good. Then what about kingdom Protista? Does this Protista has unicellular or multicellular? This is the next important one. And this kingdom Protista is also having unicellular organisms. So here kingdom Protista is also having unicellular organisms. Very good. And in this what will come? So there are different examples, that euglena will come, protozoa will come, many will come. Anyhow in biological classification you will study about each and everything in detail. Okay. So in the biological classification you will study about Monera, Protista, Fungi. Up to there you will study. And there is a separate chapter that is called plant kingdom. So there you will study about plant. And there is a separate chapter called as animal kingdom. There we will study separately about kingdom Animalia. So in this way different are there. And here simply it is a general introduction. That's it. So kingdom Protista is also having unicellular organisms. Very good. Then what about the remaining 3? Kingdom Fungi, Plantae, Animalia. All these three are having multicellular organisms. This is the very important one. These are all having multicellular organisms. In these cases, these organisms are composed of many cells. So that's why under the multicellular, what are the examples that we are writing? So kingdom fungi, next one kingdom plantae, and the last one is kingdom animalia. So in this way, now we are classifying them into different groups. So unicellular organisms are distributed in two kingdoms. They are kingdom Monera and kingdom Protista, and multicellular organisms are distributed in three kingdoms. They are kingdom fungi, plantae and animalia. Understood or not? This is some very basic information that they are asking. And before asking questions on this, I will add some other information also. What is that particular information? So once you are ready with this information, now we will come back to this. And in this particular one, we are trying to add some other information. This information is the most important one. Please understand this. Once we have written all the 5 kingdoms and classified them into whether unicellular or multicellular, it is very good. And the next point we need to write is whether they are prokaryotes or eukaryotes. This is the another point where many students are making mistake. Now tell me, kingdom Monera unicellular, fine. But what about prokaryote or eukaryote? Kingdom Monera is having all prokaryotes. All prokaryotes are present under only one kingdom. All the prokaryotes are grouped into only one kingdom. What is the name of that kingdom? Kingdom Monera. Please understand this. Then what about Protista, fungi, plantae and animalia? Please understand this. Now here all these are eukaryotes. All these are eukaryotes. Please understand this. All these 4. So eukaryotes are distributed in 4 kingdoms, but all the prokaryotes are present under single kingdom. Understood or not? This is the overall basic information. Once this information is ready, now I will start asking the questions. Listen the questions very carefully, Please remember, deliberately I will ask some questions to confuse you. Please understand this. This is my way of teaching, because generally what the teachers will do, they will say that Monera is having unicellular and all these are prokaryotes. That's it, over. But here my aim is, I will ask the questions generally. Some questions are direct questions only, no problem. But some questions are little bit confusing, because I will deliberately ask that type of questions so that you will start thinking on the content. Once you start thinking on the content, then you will know the content in a proper way. What is correct, what is wrong? Because in the NEET examination, they are asking true or false, or identify correct statement, incorrect statement, like this also they are asking. If you don't understand the information properly, unnecessarily you will make the mistake in examination. And another suggestion that I am giving is, whenever you are studying something, study like a student. But once that study part is completed, you should think like a teacher who is preparing an examination paper. Please understand here. So that what happens? You will start analyzing it in a better way. So instead of reading different books, what I am saying, follow NCERT, follow our class notes and our lectures. That much is enough. But the point is, you just try to analyze in different ways, so that you will understand the content with a clear-cut information. Please understand this. And now based on this, what are the different questions that are possible? Let us see. Kingdom Monera has unicellular or multicellular? Unicellular organisms. Kingdom Protista is having unicellular organisms. Kingdom Fungi is having unicellular organisms. Plantae is having, Fungi is having multicellular organisms. Plantae is having multicellular organisms. Animalia is having multicellular organisms. 5 different questions completed. Next one. Unicellular organisms are distributed in how many kingdoms? I repeat the question. Unicellular organisms are distributed in how many kingdoms? Like this also question can be asked. Then what is the answer? Then the answer will be 2 kingdoms. Yes or no? And multicellular organisms are distributed in how many kingdoms? 3 kingdoms. Understood or not? In this also question can be asked. Now the question is, which of the following kingdoms does not contain multicellular organisms? Now understood or not? Some questions are straight. Which one is having so and so? This is straightforward question. What is the opposite question? Which of the following is not having? Now you need to be little bit careful. So now the question is, which of the following kingdoms is not having multicellular organisms? What are the four options? Kingdom Animalia, Kingdom Plantae, Kingdom Fungi, Kingdom Protista. What will be the answer? Kingdom Protista is the answer because all these three are multicellular. In the question I asked not multicellular, that means it will be Protista. Understood or not? In this way also questions can be asked. Next one we will go to this particular one. Prokaryotes were distributed under how many kingdoms? Only one kingdom, that is Kingdom Monera. But eukaryotes were distributed under how many kingdoms? Four kingdoms. What are those? Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. These are straightforward questions. Yes or no? Now the next one we will interlink the different concepts. What are these concepts? One is this information and the other one is this information. Now I will give you some statements. Listen carefully and tell me whether they are true or false. Okay? Listen the statements carefully. All the unicellular organisms, for your easy reference, I am showing this one also. So based on that, you can decide whether true or false. I am repeating the question. All the unicellular organisms are prokaryotes. All the unicellular organisms are prokaryotes. True or false? True or false? Definitely it is a false. How all unicellular are prokaryotes? It is not, because some unicellular are belonging to kingdom Monera, some unicellular are belonging to kingdom Protista. But Protista is actually what? Eukaryote. So all unicellular are prokaryotes is right or wrong? It is a wrong statement. Understood or not? In this way, with logic, you need to understand why it is wrong. That also you need to understand, because this analysis is important to answer assertion and reason type of questions. Yes or no? So that is the reason why understand the content carefully. Now the next statement. All multicellular organisms are eukaryotes. True or false? Please focus only on multicellular. Don't forget about this. Multicellular. That means these three. All these multicellular are eukaryotes. True or false? It is true. So now you just understand. All unicellular prokaryotes is wrong, but all multicellular eukaryotes is correct. Understood or not? So please understand this. And now the same type of question, but in the reverse direction, we will see here. Please understand here. All prokaryotes are unicellular. All prokaryotes are unicellular. All prokaryotes are unicellular. True or false? This time you just tell me. True or false? It is true. But the reverse, all unicellular are not prokaryotes, but all prokaryotes are unicellular. See here, content is very simple, but the questions can be complicated in any level. So that is the reason why we should not by heart the content, we should understand the content. Okay, what is the overall conclusion? All unicellular organisms are not prokaryotes, but all prokaryotes are unicellular organisms. This is the one important point. Next point. All eukaryotes are not multicellular, but all multicellular are eukaryotes. Do you able to understand this or not? Once again, I'll repeat this. All eukaryotes means what? This and this will come. But all these are not multicellular, because only these are multicellular, these are unicellular. That's why all eukaryotes are not multicellular, but all multicellular are eukaryotes. So in this way, these type of sentences we need to write very clearly in the notebook, because this is where generally students are getting confused. And the problem is they are not doing mistake just because they don't know the answer. They know the content and everything they know, but when they are going for the examination at that speed, they are not able to interlink the content. They know everything. Once examination is over, they say that, "Arey, I know this answer, but I made a mistake here." So don't do that. So please remember, it is not that before examination you know answer, after examination you know the answer. During examination, when you are attempting that particular question, at that point of the time, do you know the right answer or not? That is only needed for examination, and for that you need more clarity. So this is what I am saying, that we are reading and we are studying only NCERT, but with a proper clear cut explanation we will go, so that any type of question. Let them ask any type of question. Same content, whether it is a match the following type or identify correct pair, incorrect pair, or else it may be some different statements, and from the statements how many correct, how many wrong, whether that type or assertion reason type or statement 1, statement 2 type, whatever is the type, or a straightforward question, any type of question you should be able to answer this. Okay, so this is what some basic information that we need to understand from this particular content of information. Okay, so this is what they are talking about, unicellular and multicellular organisms. This is what they are saying. For the unicellular organisms, entire kingdom protista, all the different types of bacteria will come, and entire kingdom of the protista having the protozoans and many other will come. So amoeba abj protozoan. So it is a unicellular organism. So for unicellular I have given this example, and multicellular is distributed in kingdom fungi, plant and animalia, and human is belonging to kingdom animalia. So human is example for multicellular organisms. Clear? So this is what the basic information. And for this particular content, what are the sentences given in NCERT? Now let us see here. This is the chapter beginning, cell the unit of life. What is the content they give? When you look around, you see both living and non-living things. Okay, so here when we are observing in our surrounding, we are observing some living things and non-living things. Suppose our friends are there, suppose you are sitting in a classroom, or you are in your home, or you are going to some party somewhere. So we are observing so many plants, animals, and human beings are also part of animals. Don't think that so human is separate, human is also part of animal. So in this way many things, some insects are there, some lizards we are observing on the wall, many things we are observing. All these are examples for living. Suppose there is some table, some bench are there, some chalk piece is there, suppose this board is there, all these things are non-living things. So in this way we are observing so many things, and you must have wondered and asked yourself, what is it that makes an organism living, or what is that an inanimate thing means non-living thing. If you want to underline and write it. Inanimate is non-living thing, does not have, which a living thing has. So how you are differentiating between living organism and non-living thing? What is present in living organism, what is not present in living thing, a non-living thing, so that these two are differentiated. This is what the question they are asking. So answer also they are giving. The answer to this question is the presence of basic unit of life. What is this basic unit of life? It is nothing but cell. Hyphen cell they have given now. That basic unit of life is nothing but cell, and that is present where? In living or non-living? It is present in all the living organisms. So in this way this is considered as basic unit, structural and functional unit for living organisms. Next one, all the organisms are composed of the cells. Any organism, whether it is unicellular, multicellular, whatever it is, compulsorily it should have cell. If cell is not present, that is not an organism, that is a non-living thing. That's what they are saying. And some are composed of single cell and are called as unicellular organisms. Some organisms are having only single cell, in that case they are called as unicellular organisms, while others like us, like human, we are having, or we are composed of many cells and are called as multicellular organisms. So in this way, based on number of cells present in the organism, we are classifying organisms into two types. What are those two types? Unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. And next one, already we have discussed this, what they are saying here. Then what is the cell and how the single cell is able to exist independently? Let us see. Unicellular organisms are capable of independent existence. So in the case of unicellular organisms, first point they are saying that they are having independent existence. What about multicellular organisms? In multicellular organism, can each cell have separate existence? No, it cannot exist independently. But in unicellular, single cell itself is there, but it can exist on its own. This is what they are saying. And second point, they are saying that performing the essential functions of the life to keep the cell in living condition. Whatever the functions that are required, all the functions will be performed by this single cell. That's why unicellular cells are able to have independent existence. This is what they are saying. Next one, they are saying that anything less than a complete structure of cell does not ensure independent living. What is the meaning of this? If even a single cell is also not present, anything less than complete structure of cell, that means even a cell is also not present, even a single cell is also not present. Now, in that case, can it show its independent existence? No, it cannot ensure independent living. In that case, it cannot live on its own. Understood or not? For this sentence, explanation is needed that I will give you separately now. Okay. Hence, cell is the fundamental structural and functional unit of all the living organisms. That's why to say that something is a living organism, compulsorily cell should be present. That's why kingdom Protista, kingdom Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia, all the 5 kingdoms. All the 5 kingdoms are having the cells, are having the organisms which are made up of the cells. It is a very, very important information. Now, with this paragraph is completed and you understood also. So, very good. But now come back to this sentence once again. I will read the sentence once again and what is the inner meaning of this and how we are relating this with some other chapter and how it is useful in future lectures. So, all these things you need to understand. Anything less than a complete structure of a cell does not ensure independent living. What is the meaning of this particular one once again? So here they are saying that what is the simple meaning? Direct meaning. So even if a single cell is also not there, it cannot live on its own. That's what they are saying. And for this particular sentence, what are the various examples? Let us see. Viruses, viroids, and prions. What are these names? You will study. Once again I am telling you because I don't want to give more information about this. You will study about all these things in detail in a separate chapter called as biological classification. There they will teach you each and every point very clearly. But here to understand this particular sentence and to link up this sentence with that particular point, this linking is important to understand the concept. For this linking part, so here we are writing some information. Now let us divide this like this. So here total 3 things are there. What are those? Viruses, viroids and prions. And now you need to understand what actually is a normal cell is. What is the basic and compulsory thing in a normal cell? Please understand, for the normal cell, compulsorily it should have plasma membrane. It should compulsorily have plasma membrane. Please understand here, to call something as a cell compulsorily it should have plasma membrane. This is one compulsory part. And inside this, a living substance called cytoplasm or protoplasm should be present. Cytoplasm or protoplasm. Here I am not giving difference, but in the next lecture when we are studying about this particular information, there I will tell you what is the difference between cytoplasm and protoplasm. But here for our content, here it is enough. Either it should have cytoplasm or protoplasm. It should be compulsory present. And along with this, it should compulsorily have DNA. DNA only. Please remember, genetic material DNA. If cell is having DNA, it will produce RNA, but that is not genetic material RNA. There are different types of RNAs that we will study separately. And genetic material should be compulsorily DNA. And another important point is, it should have ribosomes. Please understand this point. So in a cell, whether prokaryote, eukaryote, we are not worried. Overall, if you see what are compulsory, plasma membrane is compulsory, either cytoplasm or protoplasm is compulsory, DNA genetic material is compulsory, and ribosomes are compulsory. These are compulsory. So when you are saying something as a cell, these should be present. And now we will see what is the composition of these things. Viruses are having 2 components. What are the 2 components? It has a protein coat. It has simply a protein coat. And then it is having genetic material. It has genetic material. And what is this genetic material? Is it DNA or RNA? This is also important. Some viruses have DNA. Some viruses have RNA. Please understand this. Here R does not mean that both of them are same. Some are having either DNA, whereas some others are having RNA. In this way they are saying either DNA or RNA. Between this, one of them will act as genetic material. In different viruses, different things. So please understand here. For the normal virus, how we are drawing the diagram? So this is the normal bacteriophage diagram that we are drawing here. Suppose this is the end plate. From this side, like this, tail fibers will come, tail pins will be present. Like this we are drawing. And this is the protein coat that we are talking. Then what about the genetic material? Inside this, the genetic material will be present. It may be DNA or RNA, whatever it is. Now you just see it. To call something as a cell, plasma membrane is the first and important requirement. Is the plasma membrane present in viruses? No. That means it is having a structure that is less than the cell. So can you use the term cell for this one? No, you cannot use the term cell for this one. So since you cannot use the term cell for this particular one, now tell me, does it contain the basic unit of life called cell? It does not contain basic unit of life called cell. If it is not having basic unit called cell, can you call this as an organism technically? See, viruses under the organisms we are studying, because in the biology we need to study. If no one is studying, where it will be? So that is the reason why we are studying viruses under biology. Okay, fine. But does it technically qualify the definition of living organisms? Does it technically qualify the definition of living organism? So it is not qualifying this because it is not having cell. It is not having cell, that's why it is not considered as living organism. Then what about this position? So that is the reason why, please understand here. So viruses, how they will behave? Viruses, once they are infecting the host cell, yes, inside the host cell, they are behaving like living organisms because they are doing reproduction and many things are there. Anyhow, these things separately we will study under living world chapter. So inside the host cell, they are behaving like living organisms, but once they are present outside the host, you know that many viruses are present in the atmospheric air here. So once they are present in the air, they are like non-living things. But once we are getting the infection inside the host, they are behaving like living organisms. So please understand this. So viruses, outside the host, non-living, inside the host, living organisms. So viruses are considered as connecting links between non-living and living. Please understand this. This is one important point you need to notice. So viruses are considered as connecting links, connecting link between what? Between two things. What are these? Between non-living and living. So please remember, technically viruses are not considered as a living organism. So now we will go with this particular point. So under the prokaryote, we are talking about unicellular organism. In this unicellular example, if you see different types of bacteria and mycoplasma, all these things we are studying. My question is, are you studying viruses under kingdom protista? Sorry, kingdom monera. Under prokaryotes, are you studying this? We are not studying viruses under kingdom monera. Please understand this. And we are not calling viruses as prokaryotes also, because they are not organisms at all. Viruses are not organisms at all. They are not prokaryotes, they are not eukaryotes, they are not organisms at all. So that's why they are kept separately. So we need to study viruses separately. Please understand this particular point. This is the most important point. Many students are thinking that viruses are prokaryotes. No, they are not prokaryotes. They do not belong to kingdom monera. Please understand this. They are simply connecting links between non-living things and living organisms. But since they are infecting the biological organisms and causing diseases, so we are studying these under living organisms. That's what. But technically they are not living organisms because they don't have the basic structure called cell. This is what about the viruses. So viruses are having two components. One is protein coat, other one is genetic material, that is either DNA or RNA. Fine. Next one, viroids. What are these viroids? Viroids are having single stranded RNA generally. Just a single stranded RNA, that's it. They don't have any protein code, they don't have any other thing, simply single stranded RNA. Not all single stranded RNA. Some specific types of single stranded RNAs can cause diseases. That type of infectious means what? A disease causing genetic material. Means nucleic acid. Simply don't say genetic material also. So this type of disease causing nucleic acid molecule is simply called as viroid. That's it. That's it. So does it contain the basic structure like this? No. So this is also not considered as cell. And what are these prions? These are some misfolded proteins. That's it. These are some infectious. Infectious means they can cause infection. They can cause diseases. So infectious. So proteinous or proteinaceous means what? They are protein in nature. That type of molecules are simply called as a prions. Okay. So prions are having only protein part, and viroids are having only nucleic acid. Nucleic acids means DNA and RNA, but specifically it is RNA. In that also specifically it is single stranded RNA. Okay. This is, whereas viruses are having both protein part and genetic material, but all these three are not living organisms. They are not considered as cells also, because they don't have basic features that are required for a cell. So that is the reason why now we will connect with NCERT sentence. What is this NCERT sentence? Anything less than a complete structure of cell. Can you write viruses, viroids, prions here? Yes. They do not ensure independent living. That's why they cannot live on their own. So they should compulsorily infect the host. Inside the host only they can do the propagation. That's it. So independently they cannot do this. So this sentence you can link up to viruses, viroids and prions also. So this is another important point from the NCERT, and that we are interlinking so that we are understanding the concept clearly. Is it clear? This is what the content is. Okay, so this is what the basic information, and before closing this particular lecture, I want to show you some list of scientists and their contributions in cell biology. So what is this particular content actually? So generally whenever any teacher, generally whenever they are talking about the cell chapter, so teacher is also more excited, students are also more excited, so that they will study some list of 20 to 30 different scientists. So this is the so and so scientist name, he discovered so and so, initially name was given like this and later on this name was changed to like this, likewise there is a big list of scientists is there. Once again I am telling you, because I want to show this, I am showing this, that's it. I don't want to teach all these things, please understand, because suppose you just simply imagine in the cell chapter itself, suppose you are studying about 20 to 30 scientists. Likewise, many chapters are there in class 11th, class 12th. So when you are going for NEET examination, already whatever the list that was given in NCERT itself is a very big. And why you want to unnecessarily add this one and that too? These are all memory based information. And please try to avoid this. Whatever is the information regarding scientists, years, no one will ask about this. And some scientists in the genetics part, yes, they are very, very important. And not only this, some scientist names that were given in the NCERT textbook, yes, they are very important for examination. But whatever the scientist information that was not given in NCERT, please avoid it. Ignore that information. We don't want this. Please remember, we need to remember so much of concepts, so many examples that were already given in NCERT. So why unnecessarily we are adding this particular information? So here what I am doing is, I will show you some list. In that also, wherever I have given this yellow highlighted ones, that information and that scientist, only that is important. Remaining are just simply for show up only. I am directly telling you, this is for show up only, because generally what the students will think whenever they are opening any MCQ book, in any MCQ book you just see unnecessarily whatever is not present, see here. So these two are important. This scientist not needed, this scientist not needed, directly I am telling no, but they will go through some MCQ questions. As soon as they see the MCQ question, they will feel that our teacher did not teach this one. This may be the most important one and our teacher has missed it. Please don't think like that. Please stop thinking like that. Is it there in NCERT or not? First thing you need to see is it there in NCERT or not? Suppose it is not there, at least is it related to NCERT content or not? That point you need to think from your side. See, one thing directly I am telling you, so any author, whenever they are making these MCQ questions, definitely they will give some out of NCERT questions. And you don't try to solve each and every question. And since they gave in the MCQ book, so you need to solve it. Don't do this type of conclusions. Is it relevant to our examination or not? Every time you need to ask the same question. Is it relevant to our examination or not? Then only, if it is relevant, then only you need to understand it. If it is not relevant, simply ignore that. Simply ignore that. This is the one thing. So when we want to make a good score, you also need to know one more point. That is, it is not just that what to read. It is also very important to remember that what to leave. This is very important. If you don't know what to leave, if you keep on reading each and everything, the content will be out of syllabus and unnecessarily you will go for one more repetition. Don't do this type of mistakes. You should know what are the boundaries for the syllabus and what are the boundaries for the examination paper, so that we will be in the limits, and within limits, yes, we should compulsorily have 100% perfectness on our subject. That's what I am saying. Okay. So in this way, now anyhow, some of this information anyhow in the next lecture also I will cover. But here simply I am saying this. Robert Hooke discovered the dead cell for the first time, and he at that time actually he observed the cell wall and he gave the term cell. Anyhow, this information though not given in NCERT, only regarding Robert Hooke it is little bit important. So in the next lecture we will study more details about this particular scientist. Next one, Antony van Leeuwenhoek. For the first time he observed the living cell. This is the direct statement given in NCERT, so compulsory. And there he observed some living moving organisms and he named them as animalcules. So this information also we will study in the next lecture. Okay, and this information not given in NCERT. Next one, regarding this scientist, not given in NCERT. Regarding this scientist, with respect to ribosomes separately they mentioned. So ribosomes were discovered by Pallade, that's why they are called as Pallade particle. This is the direct NCERT sentence and this is not given in NCERT. Next one, this sentence regarding the corti, this sentence is not needed, but in human physiology we will study about the neural control and coordination. In the neural control and coordination we will study about the ear mechanism of the hearing, all these things we will study. At that time actually organ of corti, there is a structure, so that is there, so that information is actually limited. So organ of corti was discovered by Corti, so based on the scientist name it is called as organ of Corti, and this is related to hearing part, hearing. Okay, how exactly we are hearing mechanism is related. And regarding this scientist, not mentioned in NCERT, this information not mentioned in NCERT, and this information not mentioned in NCERT, and Robert Brown discovered the nucleus given in NCERT. So this is important for examination. Okay, and this scientist information not given in NCERT, this information not given in NCERT, and this not given in NCERT, this is also not given. And here Golgi, Camillo Golgi, he discovered the Golgi complex, Golgi apparatus, right? So this sentence was given, this was discovered by Camillo Golgi, that's it. Only this information is there, and this information was not given in NCERT, and this information was not given in NCERT, this information not given in NCERT. This is just for, because you should not feel that our teacher did not teach this. I am directly telling that this is not needed at all. Who will remember all these things? Okay, next one, this information is not needed for examination. So those who are more enthusiastic, since this is the first chapter from this particular type, so this side, so from this track, so in the beginning you are more interested, you want to study more things, so that's why some students are interested in this type of information. Only for those I am giving this information, but I am making it very clear that this information is not needed at all. So only those which were highlighted with this yellow, only this information is enough. Only this information is enough. Anyhow, that highlighted information separately from the next lecture onwards we will cover it. And this is just simply I wanted to show you this, so that's why I have shown this. Over. So what is the regular content of NCERT, content, scientists, everything? Once again we will detailedly we will study. So don't worry about that. Okay. And next one is a small difference. This is the last point, and this is where we will stop it. And here we are talking about a small difference between cytology and cell biology. What is the difference between this? In the case of cytology, we will study only the structure of the cell, that's it. Only the structure of the cell. If you are studying only the structure of the cell, it is called as cytology. But what the cell biology includes? Cell biology includes both cell structure and its function and reproduction also. So all the three, cell structure, cell function, and how cell reproduction, what is the meaning of cell reproduction, cell division. So all the things we will study. So that is the reason why cell structure in this particular chapter called cell the unit of life we will study. Function means some reaction should happen inside this, and what are the molecules that are related in this particular reaction, everything we will study in biomolecules chapter. And cell reproduction means cell division, how one cell will form the new cell. So all these things we will cover in the next chapter, that is called as cell cycle and cell division. So that is the reason why cell biology includes all the things. So that's the reason why generally we say that this is a cell biology unit. Cell biology unit. So we will study about all the different aspects of the cell in this particular one. So this is just first lecture for this particular chapter. From the next lecture onwards, we will go with the content. Please remember, once again I am telling you what is within NCERT, what is out of NCERT, everything I will mention you. At the same time, I will tell you what is to be remembered, what is to be listened and left. That's it. So these things you need to be very much specific. Then only you can understand the content very clearly. Okay. So this is where we are stopping. and in the next lecture we will continue with the next one. Okay, my suggestion is please keep the NCERT in front of you whenever we are going through the lecture. So if whenever I am reading this, so sometimes I may say that please underline this, and then you just write the synonym for this. At that time immediately you can write it. So whenever you are reading NCERT, it will be very easy for you. Okay, thank you my dear friends, we will meet once again. Thank you.